Hello, it's Peter from PS Sound, and this is going to be a very short walk around explaining video for you guys as part 2 of this B-class project. Well, it wasn't supposed to be like a series of videos, was it?
No.
This project started off as a very simple upgrade, which gave us way more work than we thought, and we explained that in the first video. And then the owner very quickly realized the limitations of a two-way front end.
Absolutely.
People will only really understand what I mean by that if, now I'm a bit, naughty, because we don't share RT evaluations on YouTube anymore. It's just extra time, and all those videos go to our Patreon channel that you can see a link to in the description if you drop the description down in this video, where we break it down why you have limitations with the two-way in the usual configuration, having a mid-bass in the door down low and a tweeter up high in the sails. Usually the mid-range is the range in the frequency range that's sacrificed. And in order to tune a system in two-way, you will have to lose a fair amount of headroom. And in a car like this, where we have a small-ish amplifier, but even if, it doesn't matter, even if we had a huge amplifier, you wouldn't be able to push the mid-bass any further, and then you lose output capability. And to be fair, it wasn't quiet, but you just wanted a bit more. Plus the staging was just nice, accurate, as you can get with a three-way or with a wideband. Because if someone had a two-way configuration with a wideband, that would still give better result. Because then you would be able to play the whole vocal range from up high, where you don't have anything obstructing the speakers, your legs, your wife's legs, your wife's backpack.
Yeah.
And when did you leave before? When was the first part of this project? 3 weeks ago?
Yeah, I think it was 3-4 weeks ago.
Not that long time ago. And we knew that we would have to do slight changes if the owner was up for it, and you were more than up for it.
Yeah.
So that simple little project is now turning into something a bit more complex. And actually we are getting to the stage when I always tell to people that the absolute minimum level we build has to have three-way or two-way with wide bands, and it needs a bit more attention to, system design. So what did we do? Well, not much here. I mean, you can't see anything. We still have the Helix, really shallow, slim prefab box, ported enclosure. What sub do we have in that? 12? Is it 12?
That's a 10-inch.
10.
Shallow.
10 shallow. Well, you see, I thought that it was actually a 10. Sorry, a 12. So if it's just a 10 now with an added monoblock that we added to the match up a DSP. So now the Helix shallow sub has a dedicated monoblock, the Helix M1. And then now we are running that on 1 ohm. So we have more than enough power for that 10-inch sub. Actually, we have double the amount of headroom in the monoblock, but it definitely brought everything alive. And then you were really, really complicating it. So many times I had to slow you down and just, don't overthink it. It's not gonna be anywhere close to what it was like when that sub was running off the small match amplifier, because people look at numbers and then what was the power coming out of the match up 8?
They had stated at 2x116 max, running 2x120, 2 ohms each.
So in theory, 240 watts RMS.
Yeah. We
had on paper for that sub. But I always say that multi-channel amplifiers just never run subs with that level of control, and they don't, as soon as people start to push them, they just don't sound so clean and dynamic as when you have a dedicated monoblock with a separate power supply in that monoblock. And even if you have the same power on paper, let's say we just said 240 watts with a monoblock, it would be way better. Now we have way more headroom too, and it has definitely transformed the bass performance in the car. So you can have fun now too. But we will come back to that because we may have a part 3. But what has really changed is that we added speakers to the car. So now we are running three-way. So the easiest option was just to customize the pillars and add mid-range speakers. So in our usual fashion, we built up the pillar with our usual technique. A lot of milkshake at the back with steel added to it and deadening all the way on the pillar. So that is not vibrating, it's not resonating. We have clean sound coming out of the pillars, that's for sure. And now we have proper eye level staging in the car, a very believable stage where the mid-range clarity is on a whole different level as opposed to having a mid-range down there. No matter what amount of tuning and EQing you do, it will never be as good when you play mid-range from there, because it's literally playing onto your leg, and then as soon as you move your leg, everything changes. The response from left to right changes. Your imaging is changing on you know, up on the dash. So that was the easiest way. And then now, as we added the monoblock, we freed up 2 channels from the match amplifier, and we could also reconfigure which channels we are running for what. Because before, the last 2 channels were used for the sub, now we are using the mid bass on those 2 channels. So we have a bit more headroom for the mid bass, which takes the most power, needs the most amount of headroom. So this way now, you also learned that actually this amplifier can be more than enough, because actually the system can be so loud that yeah, it can be dangerous on long-term listening. Because for mid and tweet, the amount of power that little amplifier has is plenty. What is it, 65 per channel, I think?
65 and 2 by 98 ohms.
So yeah, the 90 watts are also enough now for the mid bass in the door. Because you were thinking about, you know, let's upgrade to the V8, the Helix V8 DSP straight away, because he has a bit more power. Well, the difference between 65 watts and 80 watts per channel is not huge. And yes, if someone has the starting budget that can stretch a bit further, we would use the V8 for sure. We use the V8 a lot. But then originally, yes, you wanted to run everything from a tiny amplifier, keep the budget down. I said, no, we keep it. We will have the monoblock for the sub, we will 3 channels up for the mid bass, we will have more power for the mid bass, and then it will be absolutely fine.
Yeah, listen to Pete.
Many times people just overcomplicate it for no reason. So otherwise nothing changed right now. We still have the conductor over there, so we can control the DSP from there. Same way, master volume, you press it one more time, you have sub level, you can adjust it there. Then you can adjust the rear field here. We have different presets, so the rear field plays full range. I mean full signal, and it also plays differential as an effect speaker. It's a sub, rear, and then presets. We have 4 presets right now. First preset when the rear doors play full signal. Then second preset is where the rear doors play differential. Third is a preset if the sub has to come out. And in that case, we have allowed the mid-bass drivers in the doors to be crossed lower, so they give more output at the low end. So you can live with it until the sub is out of the car if you need the space in the boot. And then preset number 4 that we are on now, right now, is a preset where we have a bit of a madness, where the sub is let loose. It's not EQ'd so accurate to blend into the system. We let it loose, and then you get maximum output capabilities in the cabin. So that's how we created 4 presets. It's not that often that we have so many presets, but we create as many presets as the customers want. On this one you could have 10, I think, and it takes a second to reload them in. Easy peasy. So we still have the HD Bluetooth module for better quality playback. Otherwise the system is integrated on speaker level from the head unit. Actually match amplifiers have an easy plug and play loom, so it's relatively easy to integrate these match amplifiers with factory sources. So that's where we are right now. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we may have a follow-up on this car, but that's going to take time.
Yep, gotta find time for that.
Because yes, that subwoofer for the price tag, it's great and it's drop-in, so it doesn't need any installation time. But when people have the budget, then we would always recommend to have something slightly bit more musical, because this is a prefab box, also tuned high So it's more optimized towards space saving and output. So it's great at the upper bass, but it's not as great at the lower frequencies. So below 35, it starts to roll off. Some people don't need it, some people do. There's still a lot of information below 35 hertz. And yeah, musicality and tonality is another story. So if this subwoofer was doing everything, then people wouldn't buy anything else. I always say that. So people can't expect everything from a certain price range. This subwoofer is clearly for practicality, performance, and that's great. Honestly, I can't fault it for that price. What is it, 300 quid?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. So it's a great sub, but maybe this sub will need a new owner in the future when we have time to schedule this project back in for a custom enclosure. We will still try to keep it practical with a shallow sub, but something with more cone area, so probably a 12.
Yeah.
And something a bit more capable when it comes to output and musicality. So we will see what the future brings. For now, you definitely have a million times more dynamics in the system, better staging, better clarity. Everything has improved, and we haven't done much work to it, honest, other than building the A-pillars and retuning the whole system. So that's where we are. It might be interesting for those who've been following this project. To be fair, your project, whether it's false data or not, I don't know. We were looking at it, and Adi was having a laugh at it as well when we saw the specs, the statistics of the post we shared of your build on Facebook. So where I shared the pictures, people don't see it, but because I run a business page, I see statistics, and it shows the amount of people the post has reached. Our maximum number was something around 85-90,000 people. The maximum people we have reached with a post, something like the Insignia, but that build was shared at so many places that it's crazy. So many people shared it. The Alpha T I built many years ago, that was shared a lot. And the latest Focus ST500, that also reached something like 80,000 people. But your car is showing something like 420,000 people.
Wow.
I can't even comprehend it. Was YouTube algorithm pushing this post to all sorts of platforms and groups? And I don't know. I can't even imagine it, because the share number of the post is relatively low. So I have no idea how, but if we can trust those numbers. But if anything, yes, people find this project probably a bit more popular than all those crazy projects we do, because those crazy builds are just not so achievable for most people, whereas this is simple, shall we say?
Yeah, it's within, not going too high, but you know, I can still have my moments in my car by myself.
Yeah, and it still looks stealthy even with the custom pillars. Even with the custom pillars, it's not over the top at all. Yes, we kept the speaker aiming more off axis to make the pillars blend in. We didn't want to make anything looking crazy. We designed those grills with the speaker cloths, so they definitely disappear. So here we are. Just a little update for you guys. Feel free to share it, comment on the video. Also check out description as I mentioned, because we have the RT evaluation of this car. Well, as we speak, it's not shared yet, but probably to the time this video is shared on YouTube, that RT evaluation will be shared on Patreon as well. We have weekly topics over there, behind the scene videos, all sorts of stuff. It's really useful for those people who want to learn more about car audio. It's a unique platform, to be fair. I haven't seen anyone else running a platform like we have on Patreon, and now we have around 250 members. So a lot of people take advantage of that channel. It's worth checking out. I'm going to leave it here, guys. As I said, feel free to share it, comment, usual things, and then we will see you in the next one. Take care.